everybody, this is Yuki, or Yukihio as some of you may know me, and welcome to my audio commentary on my latest painting. I was originally going to do a Masque of the Red Death illustration, because that whole story's very relevant today, as you all may know. I'm happy with what I ended up with. I kind of just wanted to do a painting again because I've been doing a lot of 3D lately. And I wanted to do a really solid painting to try and brush up on the fundamentals of making a good illustration. To start out, I ended up doing a bunch of small value sketches. I wanted to decide on my composition and then decide on the values really early on, because that's something that I find myself screwing up on when I just start straight with a sketch. I ended up doing a whole bunch of these that are very dissimilar. I ended up going with the first one just because that's what I had in my head when I started out. That ninth one there was gonna be something similar to the Francisco Goya painting with Saturn eating his children, if you've ever seen that one. It's a good painting. It's one of my favorite paintings, actually. I originally got started on this idea because I saw somebody had posted a woodcut of a scene of a skeleton in like a party. I think it was Alfred Rethel, one of his woodcuts. And I thought, oh man, I love that medieval genre of skeletons just hanging out. So I ended up doing a painting based on that. Here I'm starting out with my perspective really early, which I ended up kind of sticking with, but not really. It's so hard to put organic figures in perspective like that, so Clip Studio has some just absolutely great tools for people who are doing exactly what I'm doing, is trying to compose a multi-figure piece. I kind of put down the basic sketch here with both the values and line. For some reason, I can only work with lines. Like, I have so much trouble with just blank forms. I guess because I'm just used to using lines when I draw, so I want to make everything a line. So I end up starting my sketch, but I ended up using the composition tools from Clip Studio. Basically, you can put an unlimited amount of figures all on one plane, so that's what I was doing here. And Clip Studio has some just amazing light tools where you can use multiple light sources and place them in the scene together, so you know exactly like where all your lighting and shading is vaguely gonna be before you start. For this skeleton dude up front, I kind of start with a skeleton, but I also really like the medieval tradition of woodcutters who have never actually seen a skeleton, so they want to make like a mushy skeleton being. So I kind of went with that in the end. And for the skeleton's face, I wanted to add like a goofy expression to him. Like, he's kind of goofy, but kind of hostile. So it's goofy if you're looking in on the situation, but clearly everybody in the room here is having a rough time. And I really wanted to make that, like, I'm sure everyone's seen that little bean advertisement from like the 50s and 60s, and it's just like the most horrific looking child eating beans. So I wanted to put that face on my little skeleton. So I was trying to find a medium where I could get the face, but also have it read as a skeleton. And then I kind of put in like little snaky, little wormies on the head, like a good wormy. And basically, it's sort of like that weird mythological non-anatomically correct skeleton man that you see in so many of those old woodcuts, which worked out really well, I feel. I placed all these figures down here. I was going for like a 17th century Harlequin clown type of character. There's a painting by Pablo Picasso who made just like, I don't know what bothered me so much about the painting. It was a painting, Three Musicians, I think was what it was called. I'm not 100% sure, but it was like, for some reason that pattern really bothered me. The diamond pattern with the hat. I don't know what it is. Like, normal clowns are fine, but like those old-timey nightmare demon clowns I can't deal with. So here I'm kind of placing my values for the background, and then I start going in with the micro values on the face. I want to start with the skeleton because he's sort of the central figure. I had a lot of trouble getting his face right because, once again, I'm trying to get that weird little creepy child face on him. So basically, I have so much trouble like with edge control, so I'm trying to find places where I can place the hard edges and merge them with the soft edges and have it look right. So that's kind of what I'm doing here, is kind of merging those hard and soft edges and placing that super bright highlight to contrast. Because I wanted like a very dramatic set of lighting where this skeleton dude just kind of dominates the center. I also want to do like details on his little snake. I ended up doing like not an actual snake, but like a three-eyed demon snake, which, looking at it from far away, you can barely tell, but he's in there. He's got 3 eyes. But one of my major inspirations for this was a painting called The Triumph of Death by Bruegel the Elder. Bruegel the Elder is a guy. He did not give a shit about perspective and composition quality. So basically all his paintings were just like a billion little tiny people doing stuff, which is like terrible for an overall composition, but I really enjoy it because like it's so much fun to look at all the tiny little details. I had The Triumph of Death as my wallpaper on my computer for like years. And it was just so much fun to look at all the little details he would put into his paintings. So for this one, I tried to make like a couple of big detail points. I didn't want to like overwhelm the viewer with too many little baby details. I was originally going to have a lot of fancy costumery on these people dressed up on the floor here, but I ended up simplifying it a lot because I wasn't about to put in all those like little baby details. For all their like little neck frills, I ended up putting like a neck frill on almost all of these dudes because I don't know what they're called, but like they're like the little frilly collars that you see on old-timey costume design. And I remember I did a really elaborate painting of Hades from Persona 2. And if you've seen Hades, he's got like a set of skulls on like a staff, and they all have frilly collars. So like I spent well over like 10 or 12 hours rendering those frills on those skulls, and then I like gave up on the painting. I never actually finished it, but I learned with ultra precise detail how to render those neck frills. So I figured I might as well use it. But basically all the basic values are really easy with the Clip Studio like lighting system, which is what I used. But what I noticed like as I was painting was the lighting doesn't affect cast shadows, and I don't know if there's a setting for that. If somebody knows, like, tell me. But the cast shadows always like straight down, and I don't know if it's like supposed to be a reflection or if like they straight up don't want to bother doing cast shadows. So as I was painting, I'm like, wait a minute, why isn't this working? And then I realized, oh, I gotta like use my brain now. But basically, as I go, I have a problem where I keep like over-rendering things into a fine paste and it ends up so flat when I get done. I'll have to go in and like do an extra multiply layer to like put the correct values back in, which is what you can see me doing here. I actually find that more efficient than like doing it all at once because it's way easier to control it when you put it on a separate layer, like all the big, I guess, cast shadows and ambient occlusion. So that's what I did. And then right here, I start with the clothing pattern, which ended up being a lot more work than I expected. I had gone through and kind of mapped out like all the perspective of where they're supposed to go, and then I realized it just still wasn't quite working. Everybody in the room was supposed to have like this diamond pattern on their clothes, but then I realized after doing this that was not gonna happen. It ended up turning out fine though, because like putting all that diamond pattern on everything is gonna flatten it out real bad, so it ended up being alright without everything there. I did want to definitely put it up on this front guy though, because that's that diamond pattern that I got all hung up on with the painting I originally was inspired by. So I at least wanted to have it on one. As you can see, they didn't quite line up perfect with the perspective of the clothes, but that's why you see like so many animations and stuff where people will do like elaborate clothing patterns, but they put it on as a flat texture, which is significantly easier to animate because all you have to do is put it in that flat area and you don't have to like curve every single line on the clothing to what's underneath it. So it does look nice, but it's a lot of it's a lot of work to actually paint. And then I ended up putting little micro fibers on the skeleton guy's cape. So he's like showing off his little skeleton bits to everybody. On top of everything, after I did the basic painting with the hard round brush, I went back over with like a little canvas brush to like give it a little bit more visual interest, because I really like to paint with just the hard round, but it gets a little boring after a while. You gotta add that canvas back in. Then for the color, I just use a basic gradient map. Got that nice, like, bright red in the center. And left the rest of it black and white just to, like, not confuse the eye with too much color going on. After I did do that, I realized, oh, wait a minute, like, that's what I was missing on the face, because the beanie boy has that horrible, bright red underline. So the red on the little creepy skeleton face kind of matched those up quite nicely. I like how that turned out. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with the results. It was a lot of just kind of sitting down and painting it. I think this whole thing took me like 8 hours, 8.5 hours to put together from start to finish. But if you would like to see the painting up close, or if you want to see me paint more stuff, you can follow me on Twitter. Put that on the screen there in the description. Cobalt Cordata is my Twitter handle. And then twitch.tv/Yukihio is where I do all my other painting streams. I'm also going to be streaming games there as well. I'm planning on doing a playthrough of Pathologic or Pathologic 2, one or the other. I don't know if I can do Pathologic 1, it's a little bit janky, but we're going to power through it. So until next time.